Salve, salve galera, e hoje vamos trazer um vídeo aqui sobre a opinião do pessoal do programa Theon Talk sobre a saída do treinador Arne Slot do Liverpool. O treinador que, apesar de teve uma passagem até boa pelo Liverpool com o título da Premier League 2024-2025, porém, nos últimos anos não vinha com um desempenho bom, sendo eliminado duas vezes para o PSG na Champions League e com muitos erros, como alterações, o time já não vinha praticando um bom futebol e não vinha desempenhando um bom futebol que agradasse o torcedor, né? Então, galera, vamos ver a opinião deles aqui e se vocês concordam ou não.
Liverpool and Andoni Iraola. I think this is so hard to predict what's going to happen because I think, in terms of the coach, I think it's a really good appointment. Liverpool, I think the work that he did at Bournemouth is almost impossible not to have been really, really impressed. But I thought Thomas Frank was going to be a good appointment for Spurs. I thought Graham Potter was going to be a good appointment for Chelsea. I mean, you go all the way back many, many years ago when Man United went for David Moyes. I thought at the time that made sense, right? Given his track record at Everton. How he deals Andoni Iraola at the big club, the pressure, the press conferences, etc., etc. That's the unknown. I think that's why it's quite hard to work out how this is going to look for Liverpool.
Again, couldn't agree more. That's 3 times, mate. We're in agreement today.
Just being nice, it's my birthday, aren't you?
No. Yeah, actually, you'll have an extra one for your birthday, yeah. Look, I do agree because, you know, I've said this before. I think I call it the don't follow Fergie. You know, you look at what David Moyes did following Sir Alex Ferguson. You look at what Unai Emery did following Arsene Wenger. And I know people might turn around and say, well, Arsene Wenger, a lot of people wanted him out. Yeah, I mean, people wanted change, but then if there is going to be change, it needs to be immediate improvement. And clearly there wasn't at that particular time. No one's willing to wait. And then you look at Liverpool with Slot and Jurgen Klopp. And he won the title last season, and yet within 12 months, he's now gone. Not just because of the football. I think because of the following, this charismatic, incredible person as well as football coach who just connected with the city, let alone the actual football club as well. And Arne Slot, because he was a very different personality, he almost needed to win the title just to get the second year. And I think following someone who's been so iconic, like
I'm not sure about that, by the way.
Go on.
I don't think he needed to win the league in his first season to get another crack.
No. Okay, so maybe he didn't need to, but my point is the fact the second season there was a drop-off. If the roles had been reversed, you'd be saying, like, you know, well done, let's crack on for the third season. But because, you know, people were saying it was almost Klopp's team that he won it with. Now, I would turn around and say, well, Klopp didn't win it with Klopp's team. Arne Slot tweaked
changes
it. Absolutely.
In style of football under Slot.
Style of football, more control, Gravenberch dropping in into the whole...
Vou pausar o vídeo aqui para pedir para vocês, se você está gostando do vídeo, peço que inscreva-se no canal e deixe o like.
Midfielders are the obvious ones. But because I think there were lots of mitigating circumstances why this is always going to be a tough season for Liverpool, and yet 12 months on, he's been sacked. And again, I think it's the shadow still of Jurgen Klopp. So I think following...
I'm not sure this. I think Scott, with what you're saying about Jurgen Klopp, I think Liverpool fans are aware that possibly in their lifetime they're never going to see another Jurgen Klopp come in, and I don't think that it's fair to think that Liverpool fans are expecting the next manager to be like Jurgen Klopp. I think Liverpool fans know what they had with Klopp in terms of the connection to the city, his charisma. Is quite unique. Like, you're not like the next man or the next one or the one in 20 years' time isn't going to be like Jurgen Klopp. And there was mitigating factors with Arne Slot. Like, it wasn't his fault that Mo Salah's form dropped off. It wasn't his fault that, you know, Konate decided to not be able to defend for the first few months of the season. But ultimately, he is the head coach. He's responsible for the tactics and setting the team up. And for pretty much all of that season, I couldn't tell you what he was trying to do, how he was trying to get the best out of his players, and that's on him as a head coach.
Well,
he ran out of ideas towards the end of the season, and that's why I think So I don't think it has anything to do with Klopp.
I do. So I disagree with you, and I.
But then, so what, you're basically saying Andoni Iraola has to come in and what, like...
No, because he's not followed. I think if he'd have followed Jurgen Klopp...
In terms of style of football, then? Because everything. Style of football, I'd give you that, but similar. I don't think, because like last season, he was still, like, in terms of him and his charisma and his personality, you know,
Whose personality?
Arne Slot, he wasn't.
He hasn't got the charisma of Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, but last season,
And I like Arne Slot.
Yeah, no, but I agree with you. But the point I'm making is last season that wasn't an issue.
No, it wasn't an issue because they were winning football
exactly.
matches. So when you don't,
the issue here isn't his personality. The issue is his tactics.
So when you don't win, listen, if they had played really badly, if they'd have done an Arsenal this year, Liverpool fans still would have taken it because you won the title, and that would have been 2 titles out of 2. If you'd have somehow won the Champions League, even though if you had not been particularly good, then it would have been, well, hold on a minute, you've won the Premier League and the Champions League in the first 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I listened to his interview at the end of the season. It's very difficult, Sam, when things are going really wrong to turn it around. We saw Pep Guardiola struggling to do that. And it's still, taking time, and he hasn't won a trophy now, or hasn't won a Premier League for 2 years. When, you didn't mention the Diogo Jota and the tragedy there. Of
course.
No, we can only begin to understand how much that would have affected the team. And even when they were winning in those first 5 matches, they weren't playing particularly well. But when it goes wrong, it's very, very difficult to turn it around. For the number of reasons you've given, Luis Diaz I can throw in as well. How big a blow. I don't think people realised how big he was for Liverpool, and it's come out that Arne Slot did not want him to go. So, a lot of things were out of his control. My point is, and going back to Andoni Iraola, and we'll have to agree to disagree in terms of the following Jurgen Klopp, because I think Liverpool fans, almost on a subconscious level, have been so appreciative of what Jurgen Klopp did both on and off the pitch, how charismatic he was, what a top manager, where he wasn't spending what Pep Guardiola was spending and yet was going toe-to-toe to the very, very last game. But just whenever there was anything that went wrong in the city as well as in the football front, he just seemed to come out with everything in the right way, with the right tone. And Andoni Iraola, for me, from a purely football point of view, because that's what the Liverpool fans, including yourself, have been saying this season, the football isn't good enough. The football's rubbish. So Andoni Iraola, from a football point of view, is as close to Jurgen Klopp as you can, that kind of heavy metal front foot football. Now, where I do agree with you, what you said just before is...
Lembrando, galera, que o Liverpool ficou a 25 pontos do Arsenal. 25 pontos é muito ponto.
A big jump. It's a big jump from Bournemouth to Liverpool off the pitch. You're now at one of the biggest clubs in the world. And can you handle that? Now, as a player, if you look at who he played with, and I think the fact that he's a Basque and played with Athletic Club for so long, I think he can appreciate almost Liverpool is like that. It's, the city of Liverpool, there's such proud people. The fans are, at Anfield, you never walk alone, and the anthem there is one of the best in world football. So he understands that kind of like, this is who we are within a country. But can he handle all the pressure that comes with it, especially when things don't go well? If Bournemouth lose 3 or 4 games on the spin, it's not a big thing. If Liverpool do, it's a crisis.
Really interesting. Yeah, and it's the press conferences as well. Like press conferences now, like it's almost like Thomas Frank said something like, we're going to lose football matches in his first press conference. The next thing that kind of soundbite gets taken everywhere, and that's kind of used against him.
I think one other thing as well, just quickly, I think he will, he's already said he will look to, he's excited to working with the academy players, whereas I think Arne Slot
I
didn't.
think that when we spoke about Rio and Gamoa at the top of the show, that one of Slot's problems was the lack of minutes for Rio and Gamoa, who looked really good, really dangerous.
But we can agree to disagree as well, Sam. It's not a problem. You're a Liverpool fan. That's how.
Look, there are a lot of mitigating circumstances. You're right to mention the death of Diogo Jota, injuries, players out of form. But ultimately, I think Liverpool fans
Isak injury,
turned on Arne Slot because of the results, because he looked towards the end tactically out of his depth. Like game to game, Liverpool would get passed through the midfield. You see sometimes half a dozen players standing on top of each other. The only thing I disagree with, I don't think the Jurgen Klopp example is right and fair, because I love Jurgen Klopp more than most, I promise you. But I, in my mind, know as a Liverpool fan, in terms of him as a coach, a character, what he's done for the city, we're never going to get that ever again in our lifetime. So I've never looked at Arne Slot thought, you're not, because he's unique. He was completely unique as a manager. So I don't think it's fair to have compared Slot to Klopp in terms of their character, their personality, their aura.
I think let's see how it goes in the next year or 2 with Iraola. The football will be good. Let's see how it is. And I think it will help him not following Jurgen Klopp. And we'll have to agree to disagree with that, because I think that he was such a big character, both on and off the pitch, that Liverpool fans almost anything that wasn't Klopp related, and anti-Slot was almost the opposite on so many ways of Jurgen Klopp. Then you have to win football matches. They won football matches. They won the Premier League, and yet 12 months later, he's out of a job.
Yeah, because the football wasn't good enough, because he looked tactically out of his depth, and he looked like he didn't know what he was doing.
And there's no time. I mean, it took Jurgen Klopp to turn time to turn things around. And I listened to that interview that he did at the end of the season, Arne Slot. And the question is, what went wrong? Do you know how to fix it?
No.
How much is it going to cost? He said in his last press conference, well, one of his last ones, that he wanted to get the season out of the way. Yeah. He knows what to do. And next season, he will win the fans back, because winning football matches is what it's about. And he believed he had a plan. And I think that as much as Liverpool hierarchy denied the Salah tweet had anything to do with it, I think it wasn't necessarily the Salah tweet.
The players
like the amount of players who liked it.
I think, unfortunately, watching Liverpool for the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months, when he says he has a plan for next season, I think it's almost impossible to have had any faith in that, because he game to game last season just looked like he didn't have a plan, and looked like he didn't know how to get the best out of players and turn things around.
The hierarchy clearly agree with you.
There we go. Took them long enough to agree with me, but they got there in the end, didn't they?
As informações e também a opinião de um jornal brasileiro que trouxe as informações sobre bastidores da saída de Arne Slot. O trabalho de Arne Slot foi muito questionado pelo desempenho do Liverpool em diferentes competições ao longo da temporada, que se encerrou sem troféus. O time terminou a Premier League em quinto lugar com 17 vitórias, 9 empates e 12 derrotas, e apenas uma posição de não conseguir a vaga para a próxima Champions League. Nos últimos 4 torneios, o clube não venceu nenhuma vez e perdeu 2, 3-2 para o Manchester United e 4-2 para o Aston Villa. A equipe também foi eliminada nas quartas de final da Champions League, vigente com 2 derrotas consecutivas para o PSG, ambas por 2-0. Na Copa da Inglaterra, o Liverpool também se despediu nas quartas ao sofrer a goleada de 4-0 para o Manchester City. Enquanto na Copa Inglesa, a queda foi para o Crystal Palace, fincada na derrota por 3-0. Slot, hoje com 47 anos, assumiu o Liverpool em maio de 2024, com contrato até junho de 2027. Ele chegou para substituir o alemão Jurgen Klopp. E essas foram as informações do vídeo de hoje, galera. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Se você gostou, peço que deixe o like no vídeo, inscreva-se no canal para nos ajudar.